I wanna be Batman, cause everybody really ain't.
What's up, everybody? This is mjawwarrior here with mjawwarrior Reviews, and I'm bringing you guys my number 2 pick. Number 2 for the top 10 favorite Batman stories of all time. We're almost done. Next week is going to be number 1, and I cannot wait to tell you guys what my number 1 is, because to think about that, this one is number 2. God only knows what my number 3 is gonna. My number 1's gonna be. Sorry. Wow. My number 1's gonna be. This number 2 is pretty much a blockbuster. Now, I'm not gonna have much to say about this story because I have done a review on it, but I'm just gonna tell you guys why I like this book so much. Oh, damn, my light sucks. Batman, Year 1. Yes. Now, if you've seen my other review on this book, you know that I already reviewed it. So, yeah. I'm not going to say that much about it, but a couple of reasons why this is one of my favorite ones. Basically, this is the beginning of Bruce Wayne being Batman. This is the beginning of Jim Gordon becoming, the top cop. Well, not really top cop, but it's him being basically the rookie with, experience, getting into his ranks of being, I'm James Gordon, I am the clean cop in Gotham City. That's basically where it all comes down to it. Now, he's like the only clean cop in the department, in the whole city of Gotham City. And, it's just really awesome to see James Gordon becoming, with the salty boots, it comes in and, I'm the new cop here in this precinct because I came from Chicago, and, this corruption's got to stop. And, no one liked that in the precinct. They started pulling some Serpico shit on him, and, he wasn't going to have that. He fought for being a clean, straight, razored cop. Now, Bruce Wayne, on the other hand, he's coming back from, years of training on his mission to clean up his own home city, Gotham City. And, he does his first mission. It's sort of like not a success at all. It's sort of, went haywire. He barely survived. And, going into the slums, get his ass kicked by a pimp, 2 cops, blew up their cop car. It really wasn't a good night for him, his first night. But, he learns from his experiences. And what's really cool is that it shows how much of a rookie that Batman is. It shows how much of a newcomer into this hero business it is. And it's awesome because he's a human being and he doesn't have powers, he doesn't have special abilities besides his brain and his, his body, and that's it. That's all he's got. And it is just really awesome to see him start from the beginning to becoming the Batman that we all know and love him as today. Now, it's cool how he dons the Batman suit, how he thinks of the idea of the Batman suit as soon as the bat flies right through his window, crashes into it. He needs to become part of the night, part of the darkness. He needs to be Batman and fight for justice. And that was really cool. That was awesome. Now, it shows Harvey Dent in here. Harvey Dent and Batman are sort of like allies. Then you got James Gordon. He gets into the whole mix towards the end. Now, I really, really, really hate to compare graphic novels or any kind of novelty to a film. But if I had to compare this to any film, it is Batman Begins. That is where Batman starts his thing. That's where James Gordon starts his thing. You can see it. It's just all the beginning of what happens. Now, Batman Year 1 is the basic blueprint of Batman Begins. Is Batman Begins as good as Batman Year 1? No. I'll say that again. It is not. It is not as good as this. If you can watch Batman Begins and critique it all you want, but it's not as good as Batman Year 1. If I could pick between Batman Year 1 and Batman Begins, Batman Year 1 definitely surpasses the Batman Begins storyline. Even though there's Ra's al Ghul in there, I don't care. This storyline is awesome. It is amazing. It's just really amazing. It's really cool. Now, it has a lot of, kickback to this, with the bats and all that, and being scared of the bats. But in here, he's not afraid of bats. A bat flies through his window, and that's how it begins. Now, is that kind of, like, oh, I see that, and that's what I'm going to think? Sort of, but it's good in 2 different ways. It's good in 2 different ways. But Batman Year 1 will always be better than Batman Begins the movie. It just is. It's just going to be. It's awesome. Also, what I like about this is that James Gordon is actually a real badass in this. Like, he really kicks a lot of ass. Usually you're used to seeing James Gordon as being the old ass man. You know, I'm Commissioner Gordon. Ha. No, he's actually kicking some ass. He uses a baseball bat in here. He's fighting crooked cops. He's shooting dudes. I mean, he's got his fucking guns ablazing. He's coming out there being like, yo, I'm James Gordon. I'm a pimp, bitch. And he starts kicking ass. He's awesome. He's awesome in this book. And that's another reason why I like it. James Gordon is a badass in this. It shows James Gordon on a whole other level than what we're used to seeing him in. You know, usually he, you know, when he's the commissioner, that's all he does. He's the commissioner, he tells you what to do, and that's it. This is where he's actually doing all the action. I'm not going to tell the ending, but this is why it makes it part of my list. Batman starts off here in, you know, the storyline that we're on to right now in the modern day. Batman starts off right here. James Gordon starts off right here with his whole, you know, thing. You've got Harvey Dent. You've got Selina Kyle, which the only thing I don't like about this is the Selina Kyle being the prostitute. If I said it a million times, I'll say it again. No, I don't like her doing that because she didn't look good in here, but I guess it was good at the time. But now that we know that Selina Kyle is, you know, a hot chick who's Catwoman doing the life of crime, I just didn't like that whole take on her. But, you know, it was original. I'm going to say that. It's original, but I did not like that take. Sorry, that's my opinion. I'm just never going to like that take. But I accept it. Because, you know what, they changed it, and that's cool. You know, whatever. That's originality for you. But, yeah, that's definitely why I like this. It's just, it's really nitty-gritty down to the core of Batman. And it's, you can't appreciate Batman as who he is now without reading Batman Year One. You're gonna have to read Batman Year One to actually know, to appreciate him more. I'll say that. It makes you appreciate the storyline more. Because you know what, when you read him now, you're like, wow, there's so many things he can't do. There's like what people arguing, they're like, oh, is there anything that Batman can't do? Is there anything that he can't do? You know, he gets out of everything, you know. Oh, you know, even though he doesn't have powers, he always has an answer for everything. Not always. Not always. Batman Year One, I mean, he was in some pretty tough situation, and he was sloppy as shit. He was sloppy as hell here. You know, even after like 12 or 10 years of training, he was still shitty at what he was doing, but he was still doing it. Even though, you know, he wasn't as good as he is now. Those were years of experience of him being in obstacles like that. Getting out of chains, getting out of water, getting out of caskets, getting out of exploding bombs and exploding cars. Years of experience, man. Now I can say, yeah, there's nothing that he can't do because he's a motherfucking pimp. He's the motherfucking man. Batman is the motherfucking man. There's nothing he can do. There's nothing that he can't do. Sorry. This just really can't. But this is really, really cool to read, to see that not all the time he knew what to do. And it was really cool in here because this is the first time they mentioned the Joker. You know, with James Gordon, he's like, oh, well, there's a guy named Joker, and he's going to poison the water. I guess that was the laughing gas or whatever in the water, laughing. But definitely my number 2. A definitely must read if you're a Batman fan. I'm telling you this right now. I'm being dead serious with you. Definitely pick this up. If there's any graphic novel that, you know, you have to read that I'm telling you, Year One. I'm telling you. I swear on it, you will not be disappointed reading this. You'll be like, wow. MJAW Reviews told me that this was gonna blow my balls off, and it did. It'll blow your balls off. It's a really good story. But yes, definitely my number 2 pick. Those are the reasons why I love it. You know, you can't top it. Well, actually, I can top it because my number 1 is kind of like, yeah, my number 1 is going to be crazy. Well, not really crazy, but it's a crazy number 1. I love number 1. But I love all the ones in my top 10. So, without any further ado, that was my number 2. I'm going to catch you guys later next week to give you guys my number 1 pick for the top 10 Batman stories. Oh yeah, and another thing. One of my subscribers, Y2J92, Y2JFan92, they asked me if I was going to do a top 10 villains. And I said, why the hell not, right? So I'm going to do that. I'm going to think about my top 10 favorite villains, and I'm going to do that, you know. I think that would be a cool idea. I think that would be pretty cool. Thanks for the suggestion. I like that. Definitely. I think I'm going to definitely do that. As soon as I'm done with this, and as soon as I'm done with the other reviews, I'm going to definitely get on the topic of top 10 villains of who I like the best. So without any further ado, MJo here, MJo Reviews. Catch you guys later.